The Epstein case remains one of the most controversial stories in recent years, with Jeffrey Epstein's connections to powerful figures fueling conspiracy theories. Former President Donald Trump is frequently linked to Epstein, and in recent weeks, Trump's supporters have demanded the release of a so-called Epstein list they believe would name high-profile individuals involved in Epstein's abuse and trafficking network. However, the Department of Justice has firmly stated that no such list exists. Despite this, speculation continues, especially as Trump's political career resurges and his ties to Epstein face renewed scrutiny. Trump's defense and the Epstein files. On July 22, 2025, at a press conference in the White House, President Donald Trump was once again forced to defend himself amid growing calls for transparency in the Epstein case. The questions were pointed. Should the public have access to the files related to Epstein? And specifically, why has Trump been so insistent on not releasing certain details? Trump's response to reporters focused heavily on the credibility of the information, repeatedly asserting that Attorney General Pam Bondi had handled the situation appropriately, even as the MAGA base continued to voice dissatisfaction. In a particular exchange, Trump was asked directly about his daughter-in-law's comments advocating for more transparency in the Epstein case. Trump replied, "The Attorney General has handled that very well. The credibility is very important. You want credible evidence for something like that." While his supporters cheered the president's careful stance, others, particularly those within the MAGA base, were less than satisfied. They demanded more. They wanted names, documents, and full disclosure. What followed was an intense examination of what might be contained within the Epstein files. While Trump's supporters continued to push for a release, others pointed out the very real possibility that the public could end up with more questions than answers. And so the controversy deepened. What was truly in the Epstein files, and why did Trump remain so hesitant about their release? The Epstein connection. Trump's name in the files. For some, the idea that Trump may have been involved in Epstein's network is an uncomfortable, but unavoidable, reality. Reports suggest that the former president's name has been found multiple times in the files, although not linked to any criminal activity. People who claim to have seen parts of the documents, including former associates of Epstein, state that Trump's name appears among many others in the financier's social circle. This revelation is not new. Trump has previously admitted to knowing Epstein and socializing with him, though he has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. What complicates matters, however, is the growing sense of conspiracy among Trump's supporters. For years, they have championed the theory that Epstein's case is part of a broader political strategy aimed at undermining their preferred candidates and institutions. The cries for the release of the Epstein files only intensified after Trump publicly insinuated that powerful figures, including his political enemies, were deeply embedded in Epstein's world. But as the Department of Justice has stated, no list exists. Only a mass of information that includes names, none of which have been conclusively linked to criminal activity. This reality leaves the public in an uncomfortable position. If there is no smoking gun, what exactly is everyone searching for? Is this a case of fear-driven politics, or is there something more sinister hidden within the files? Many have pointed out that even if Trump's name is merely mentioned without any evidence of guilt, his association with Epstein could damage his reputation. His defenders argue that Epstein was a man with many high-profile connections, and that knowing him doesn't automatically imply complicity. Others, however, believe that even proximity to Epstein raises serious ethical and moral questions. MAGA and the monster of conspiracy theories. A significant part of the controversy stems from the expectations Trump himself has cultivated among his followers. During the 2016 and 2020 elections, Trump played into the narrative that the political elite was corrupt and that the establishment needed to be toppled. His rhetoric surrounding deep state conspiracies and the so-called Epstein files further fueled the belief that there was a massive cover-up at play. For MAGA supporters, the demand for transparency about the Epstein case became a rallying cry. Trump's followers believed that, if he won in 2024, he would be the one to expose the truth about the powerful individuals connected to Epstein. However, as time passed and the files remained unreleased, the frustration grew. Trump had, in many ways, promised to deliver the information they desired. And now, as his presidency appears to be in its final stages, many are angry that their hopes for exposure are unfulfilled. This dynamic is not unfamiliar. Trump's entire political existence has been predicated on stirring up public outrage, often in the face of questions he doesn't directly answer. And now, it appears that the Epstein case has become one more thorn in his side, with the specter of possible association looming large. In this way, the so-called Epstein files represent not just a potential political scandal, but a recurring issue that threatens to derail Trump's broader narrative. The Epstein list debate, legal and ethical considerations. But the matter of the Epstein files is not simply a political issue. It is also a legal one. As more details about Epstein's network and his crimes come to light, the ethical dilemma surrounding the release of the information becomes more pronounced. What responsibility do authorities have in keeping potentially harmful, unverified information from the public? If the files contain names that may be innocent but merely connected to Epstein, is it responsible to release them? The line between transparency and privacy has never been more blurry. From a legal standpoint, the Department of Justice's decision to withhold the Epstein files, stating that the files are not an investigative tool but a collection of information that may not hold any real criminal evidence, makes sense. Releasing such files could lead to dangerous repercussions, including potential defamation and legal liabilities for those who have been simply associated with Epstein. For many, this is the key issue. While the public deserves to know the full scope of Epstein's operations, there must be safeguards against unwarranted harm to innocent individuals. There is also the matter of how a public release could affect future legal proceedings, particularly if Epstein's co-conspirators or survivors of his abuse have cases pending. Asserting that individuals may have been complicit based on their names appearing in the files is a risky business without more concrete evidence. Trump and the ethics of transparency. For Trump, the calls for transparency represent more than just a political issue. They are personal. His ties to Epstein have been a long-running talking point, one that Trump has consistently denied with little to show for it other than vague references to his past association with Epstein. While many claim that Trump is a victim of association, others argue that his own comments about Epstein, particularly regarding the financier's charm and influence, raise uncomfortable questions. In many ways, this debate over the Epstein files mirrors Trump's broader political strategy. It is about controlling the narrative. Asserting that there is nothing to hide, even as the pressure mounts, is a difficult stance for Trump to maintain. His refusal to embrace transparency on this matter, especially given the political and ethical implications, only adds fuel to the fire. The Epstein case will likely be a central issue throughout the remainder of Trump's political career, with new revelations inevitably emerging, regardless of his stance on releasing the files. What does this mean for the 2024 election? As the controversy rages on, the Epstein files and Trump's association with the financier will undoubtedly affect the 2024 election. For Trump's opponents, the ongoing questions about his ties to Epstein provide a powerful narrative to challenge his credibility, with many arguing that his failure to act decisively on the issue speaks volumes about his leadership. Meanwhile, for Trump's supporters, the continued insistence on transparency is another part of the broader culture of distrust and disillusionment with the political establishment. In the end, the Epstein files are more than just a question of names. They are a reflection of the polarized political environment that Trump has come to represent. Whether these files will play a decisive role in the coming election remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: the questions surrounding Epstein and his powerful associates are far from over. The fight for transparency. The Epstein case has revealed more than just the names of powerful individuals associated with the financier. It has exposed a deeper divide within American politics. As Trump and his allies continue to resist calls for transparency, the stakes are higher than ever. The release of these files and the questions about their contents will continue to echo throughout Trump's political career. With the 2024 election looming, the Epstein files could play a pivotal role in shaping the narrative about Trump's legacy. Whether or not they are released, one thing is clear: the public deserves answers, and those in power must confront the implications of keeping such information under wraps. The fight for transparency is only beginning. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coverage on the latest news and controversies. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.